The Justice Department has completed its review of the documents seized from Mar-a-Lago earlier this month.
In a court filing, the DOJ identifies what it called, quote, a limited set of materials that potentially contain attorney-client privilege information, close quote. The filing follows an order from a federal judge signaling that she's likely to appoint a special master to oversee the FBI's investigation into the former president's handling of classified documents after he left the White House. Mr. Trump requested that a third party review the seized documents and set aside any that may be covered by claims of privilege. Republican Senator Roy Blunt spoke on ABC this weekend saying Mr. Trump should have turned over documents he was keeping at Mar-a-Lago.
Good thing they're going to have a special master look at these documents to sort through the documents that the president had every right to have and the documents that he hadn't yet turned over. I understand he turned over a lot of documents. He should have turned over all of them. I imagine he knows that very well now.
And CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga joins us now for more on this. Hi, Nicole. So, as we said, Mr. Trump is asking for a judge to appoint a special master to oversee potential attorney-client privileged information, of which the DOJ says that has found limited amounts in its review. What could some of that privileged information be, Nicole, and how might this impact the investigation?
We don't know exactly what the privileged information is in this case, but what we do know is that attorney-client privilege typically shields confidential communications between attorneys and their clients, in this case, of course, former President Donald Trump, that are made for the purpose of giving legal advice. Now, federal prosecutors did recognize in a filing out this morning that the search of Mar-a-Lago unearthed privileged documents. The FBI's filter team, that's the team responsible for going through, processing the boxes retrieved from the former president's estate, identified what they called a limited set of materials that may contain information protected by this attorney-client privilege. Now, what does that mean for the former president's lawsuit? Well, this new disclosure by the Justice Department may support the former president's request that a special master be appointed to conduct a privilege review of the items. What does that mean for the ongoing criminal investigation? Well, it's possible that it limits the scope, but given the DOJ's characterization of this as a limited set of materials, just how big the impact will be remains to be seen.
You know, a special master is a term that is not common on Friday night crime procedurals. So could you tell us a bit more about where this term comes from and what the role would be? And if the Justice Department has already finished going through the documents, what's the point of bringing in somebody else to do the very same thing?
Yeah, Tony, it's a good question. And a special master is essentially an independent third-party attorney. They're often appointed by a court in high-profile or sensitive cases, just like this one. And their role is to review materials potentially covered by privilege, in this case, attorney-client privilege, to ensure that investigators don't access or view them inappropriately. So in this case, those 15 boxes of documents. Now, ensuring that these communications are protected, if they're meant to be kept confidential. Now, a federal judge, Judge Eileen Cannon of the Southern District of Florida, over the weekend issued an order signaling that, yes, despite what we heard about already, some of these documents being processed, she was still leaning toward appointing a special master. Today's recognition by the U.S. government that, yes, there are these privileged documents does feel like another step in that direction, and extra protection there.
Right, Nicole. And so we do also know that the National Intelligence will review some of these materials taken from Mar-a-Lago. What are they specifically looking for?
Yeah, that filing by the Department of Justice also confirmed something we had learned last week. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence facilitating a classification review of materials recovered during the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. Now, that review is intended to assess the potential risk to national security that would result from the disclosure of some of these documents. We know the redacted affidavit that was released Friday, the key document prompting that FBI search, revealed 15 boxes of records recovered from Mar-a-Lago in January, including 184 documents with classification markings, 67 marked confidential, 92 marked secret, and get this, 25 marked top secret. That's the highest classification level. Now, lawmakers like Congressman Schiff and Congresswoman Maloney have expressed concern that human sources were endangered because these documents were kept at Mar-a-Lago, that worry about the disclosure of sensitive details about human intelligence sources, how, for example, spy agencies commandeer the communications of foreign targets, underscores the importance of this review. And the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, also reassuring lawmakers Friday of her intention and the department's intention to review these documents.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much. CBS News Homeland
you.
Security and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga.